What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And today I wanted to talk about an update on impending Kansas City Chiefs free agent and right guard Trey Smith. As most of you already know, Trey Smith is slated to be a free agent this offseason following the conclusion of the 2024 to 2025 NFL season, and he is going to be one of the hottest names on the market if the Kansas City Chiefs do not choose to re-sign him. There's been a lot of debate amongst Chiefs fans this offseason of whether or not the team should re-sign Trey Smith and decide to pay him a bunch of money. But the latest updates from around the league suggest that the Kansas City Chiefs may be projected to lose the star interior offensive lineman this offseason. And the first bit of news came from Joel Corey on Twitter, who is a former NFL agent and a current sports contract and cap expert. And he responded to a Chiefs fan this morning that was asking about upcoming Chiefs free agents in Trey Smith, Justin Reed, and Nick Bolton. And Joel stated that he's expecting Trey Smith to reset the offensive guard market that Landon Dickerson currently tops at $21 million per year. And that is a staggering amount of money for an interior offensive lineman. And that's not to say that Trey Smith wouldn't deserve that kind of money, and if that's what he ends up getting, good for him, but it's extremely difficult to see the Kansas City Chiefs paying top of the market for a position like interior offensive line. And while they value offensive line and protection for Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs did just spend multiple draft picks on interior offensive linemen in the 2024 NFL Draft. And furthermore, they spent top 100 draft picks on offensive linemen Wanye Morris and Kingsley Suamataia in the past couple of years, and one has to imagine that if neither of them work out at offensive tackle, that the Kansas City Chiefs certainly would take advantage of their abilities on the interior. And at some point, you just kind of have to turn your investments loose that you've made along the offensive line and let the old investments go to maximize cap space and to extend your window as long as possible. And again, Trey Smith is a fantastic player for the Kansas City Chiefs. We all know that, and he embodies everything that it means to be a Kansas City Chief. But Brett Veach notoriously has been a GM that will always look for alternatives before deciding to pay someone the absolute top of the market, unless your name is Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, or Chris Jones. I think the only other player on this roster that the Kansas City Chiefs would hand a blank check, no questions asked, is cornerback Trent McDuffie. He's been that good. But interior offensive line is a lower impact position. It's not considered a premium position, and you can find replacement level play at the guard position. I mean, that's something that the Chiefs had to do last Super Bowl run when Joe Thuney tore his pec, and you saw Nick Allegretti, who was formerly a day 3 pick in the NFL draft, step in, and the Chiefs really didn't miss a beat. And I just don't think that the Kansas City Chiefs would spend market-setting money at that position. And now, there was also another piece of news that we got on Trey Smith. I mean, if you were to look up Trey Smith right now, there are tons of articles from other teams suggesting that their team could target Trey Smith. Again, he's going to be a hot commodity in free agency, but one team in particular that it sounds like is willing to pay top dollar and maybe more than the Kansas City Chiefs are willing to spend is the Minnesota Vikings. And the Minnesota Vikings just experienced a brutal playoff loss in which their starting quarterback Sam Darnold was sacked upwards of 6, 7, 8 times, and they need offensive line help badly. And according to Minnesota Vikings on Sports Illustrated, Trey Smith is considered the crown jewel of this free agent class and someone that the Minnesota Vikings are going to target aggressively. And I just think that there are teams that are going to be more desperate for the services of Trey Smith than the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think you have to trust the Kansas City Chiefs to be able to find a replacement for Trey Smith if he were to walk. I mean, that's simply what they've done everywhere else. There's always a plan. This front office, this coaching staff, they're good enough that they could find a replacement for Trey Smith. Now, there is a scenario in which Trey Smith remains with the Kansas City Chiefs and maybe potentially gets a deal worked out long term, and that's if the Kansas City Chiefs are to franchise tag Trey Smith. Would have much higher trade value than L'Jarius Sneed because Trey Smith is younger. He's going to age well at his position, and he's one of the top players at his position that's slated to hit the free agent market. You'd have a ton of teams vying for his services. I think you could easily get a third-round pick, maybe even a second-round pick in this upcoming draft for Trey Smith if the Chiefs were to tag and trade him. And while I understand that the response to this video is going to be emotional and not very much accepted by Chiefs fans, I think this is a possibility we have to begin bracing for, as the Kansas City Chiefs tagging Trey Smith and keeping him also seems like it would be difficult given how many players they have that are seeking extensions. If they tag Trey Smith, it's going to clog up their cap space for 2025 and prevent them from making offseason moves that they want to make. And you don't want that to happen if you're Brett Veach in the Chiefs front office. The franchise tag is simply something that you do not want on the books if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. That was something they experienced also last offseason with L'Jarius Sneed when his franchise tag situation was holding up their cap space, and they ended up only having to sign Hollywood Brown to a one-year deal when it feels like maybe they would have signed a wide receiver on a multi-year deal if not for L'Jarius Sneed's contract. But that's besides the point. Everything considered, the Kansas City Chiefs may not be able to keep Trey Smith, even if they wanted to, because of how much he's going to command this offseason, and paying upwards of $20 million per year for a guard seems like a lot of money to tie up in a position where you can easily find replacement level talent, which the Kansas City Chiefs have done before and have made investments into that same position in recent years. But that is the latest on impending Kansas City Chiefs free agent Trey Smith. I know this is off topic from the Kansas City Chiefs playoff run that they're about to go on, but I'm just here to report the news, and the tea leaves suggest right now that Trey Smith may be projected to walk this offseason. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What are your thoughts on these updates regarding Trey Smith and free agency? And what do you think the Kansas City Chiefs should do with Trey Smith this offseason? I'll be curious to hear from you guys. But all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com for more. You can also follow me on Twitter at showmefb. That's all down in the description. I'm signing off. I will see you guys in the next one. And as always, go Chiefs.